Well, in West Africa, there has also been some disturbing news of human rights abuses taking place in Mali. Human Rights Watch says the Tuareg separatist group National Movement for the Liberation of Azawad and other armed groups who have taken over northern Mali have abducted and raped women and girls and used children as combatants. For more insight on this very serious situation, we're joined in the studio today by Corinne Dufka. She's a senior Africa researcher for Human Rights Watch, and she recently returned from Mali, where she spoke with witnesses to abductions and directly with some of the victims. Ms. Dufka, welcome to In Focus.
Thank you. It's very nice to be here.
Must have been a really tough time to be there in Mali.
Yes, and it's far more difficult for the Malians who are fleeing this instability, very, very unstable situation in the north.
In fact, some people have described the situation there as the worst human rights abuses in 20 years.
Yes, they're very, very serious abuses. There are over 250,000 people who are now displaced in Mali. The focus of our research, we did about a 10-day research mission in Bamako, and the focus of our research was looking at what had happened after the rebels, various rebel groups, swept across the north, taking advantage of the chaos in Mali, which was created by the coup in northern Mali.
This was like a period of 10 days. What did the people tell you happened to them while they were in their homes?
Yes, we interviewed about 100 people who had fled from the north, and they described a very, very insecure situation in which there was a patchwork of armed groups, including the Tuareg separatists, including the Islamist group Ansar Dine, as well as Arab militias and others. They described primarily looting, absolutely comprehensive looting of hospitals, of schools, of government buildings, of warehouses and aid agencies. They also described a really disturbing, fairly new phenomena in our movements in Mali, which was the abduction and in some cases rape of girls and women. They also described the use of child combatants by the different armed groups.
And those are reports that actually they even went to hospitals, government hospitals, threw out patients onto the floor and took away some of the hospital equipment, including mattresses.
That's right. There was comprehensive looting of the hospitals in Gao and Timbuktu. In Timbuktu, it was more the Arab militias who did the majority of the looting. In Gao, it was the MNLA rebels, as identified by the people as well as civilians. They said they came in, broke into the pharmacies, stole the medication, and then stole the mattresses, putting patients on the ground. Hospital sources told us that at least 4 people had died as a result of that. They were mostly elderly individuals, who a few of whom had oxygen, and they perished after being unable to access their medical care.
Yeah, but Corinne, also there are accusations that have been leveled against the military soldiers of the Mali government. What kind of abuses were witnessed in areas that are controlled by the government?
That's right. We documented the killing of 4 Tuareg members of the security forces. There's really a crisis of confidence within the Malian security forces, particularly aimed at the Tuareg members who were integrated after past rebellions. So we documented that 4 of these individuals, 2 gendarmes, a gendarme cadet, and a soldier, were taken by the military and then executed just north of Mopti. We also have documented the stopping of buses and people with light skin, who would be Tuaregs, Mauritanians, Arabs, who are taken off, arbitrarily detained by the military, and we're concerned that some of those individuals may have been abused and possibly executed as well.
Would you describe this as premeditated kind of actions, or this is just spontaneous kind of chaotic situation that resulted from the rebellion itself, from the overthrow of the government in Mali?
That's right. Yes, in the north, when the rebels swept across and took Gao, Kidal, and Timbuktu, towns they'd never been able to take in past rebellions, there was indeed a lot of chaos. But of course, an armed movement has the responsibility to ensure and to prevent abuses by its troops, and we found that those measures clearly had not been taken by the rebel groups who took in. One of the groups, Ansar Dine, did set up a hotline. They did do some proactive patrolling, but there were also abuses documented by them.
Now, those you spoke to were coming from the northern part of the country. Do they say they feel that the government has any control over the situation there, or they're now left on their own and perhaps in the hands of the rebel groups?
Yes, indeed. The government's response to the rebel offensive, to taking over and consolidating control of the north, has really been paralyzed by a coup that occurred on the 22nd of March. They're paralyzed by sort of uncertainty uncertainty with respect to how the military is going to respond, how the military and the new government, which has come into place, is going to be able to respond to that. So they really feel abandoned, and we're very concerned that that vacuum could indeed be filled by militia groups, pro-government militia groups, who have a very, very worrying history indeed of human rights abuses.
Now, very quickly, what are your recommendations? Well,
our recommendations are that all of the armed groups in the north who have a responsibility to protect civilians both issue very, very clear orders to their various combatants to stop the abuses, and then, of course, they investigate and hold accountable those who have been implicated in the abuses to date.
Well, thank you very much, Corinne, for coming to share with us that information. We do appreciate very much her perspective. She's a senior Africa researcher. That's Corinne Dufka, senior researcher for Human Rights Watch. We thank you very much for joining us on In Focus today.
Thank you.